Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Music Theory Logic. My name's Andrew, and today I thought it'd be fun to show you the beginnings of a remix. Maybe you've done a remix before, maybe not. Today is going to be kind of a demo of how to do an unofficial remix. So, side note, I was on Audius today. If you're not familiar with Audius, it's this sort of like decentralized version of SoundCloud or like an audio streaming platform. I will link to my Audius below. You should go and create an account. By using this service, you actually get this cryptocurrency stuff I don't know anything about, but the whole idea of it's pretty cool. There's lots of music up there that you're not going to find anywhere else. So I was listening and I came across this song, No Es Igual by Adrian Delgado. It's produced by Rel the Soundbender. Let's go ahead into the Logic session. So there's nothing going on here except for the actual audio file, which I got and then I brought into the session. So this song is in Spanish. It is in the realm of like reggaeton. I'm going to go ahead and play it. This very well may get flagged, and that's totally fine. Hopefully the video doesn't get taken down. I'm fine with all of the streaming or all of the YouTube monetization to go to the artists and the producer. Once again, huge respect to you guys. I love this track. It's very rare that I hear a song and like from the first listen, I'm like, oh, I love this. So let's go ahead and listen to the whole song, and we're going to talk about how to begin a remix or an edit that you may be interested in doing. So before I actually play it, I'm going to go into Logic's plugins here, and I'm going to go to metering BPM counter. Now this is important because we want to figure out the original BPM of the track that we're going to remix, and what that does is it helps us to set up our Logic session if we don't want to change the tempo and just move stuff around. That way we'll be able to use the ruler. If we do want to change the tempo, which I'm not sure if I'm going to do quite yet, totally just winging this, truly I'm just going to start a remix, a bootleg remix. And if I want to change the tempo, I'm going to need to know the original tempo. So here we go. Here's No Es Igual by Adrian Delgado.
Yo era dueño de todo y sin saber de mucho, oh cómo cambió. Yo te tenía como reina, tú fuiste mi piedra, solo algo pasó. Ahí estuvo, la historia va a cambiar, episodio climático de novela. Y tú sigue y dale, quieres regresar, pero no es lo mismo. No es igual, ya es hora que te voy a olvidar. No es igual, lo último que quiero hacer es pensar en ti. Es pensar en ti. Es pensar en ti. Un día, cuando me enteré, no lo pude creer. Oh, cómo cambió. En mí, trono sin sorpresa. De rodillas te confesas, así cayó el reino. Ahí estuvo, la historia va a cambiar, episodio climático de novela. Y tú sigue y dale, quieres regresar, pero no es lo mismo. No es igual, ya es hora que te voy a olvidar. No es igual, te mando saludos, estoy viviendo feliz. Baby, no es igual, tú piensas que te voy a extrañar, pero no es igual. Lo último que quiero hacer es pensar en ti. 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 Ojos vemos, corazones no sabemos. Ojos vemos, corazones no sabemos. Ojos vemos, corazones no sabemos. Pero no es lo mismo. No es igual. Ya es hora que te voy a olvidar. No es igual. Te mando saludos, estoy viviendo feliz. Baby, no es igual. Tú piensas que te voy a extrañar, pero no es igual. Lo último que quiero hacer es pensar en ti.
right. I wanted to give that song its justice and play the entire thing, so hopefully you liked that. Even if you didn't, stick around. We're going to talk about beginning an edit, which can become like a full-blown remix, or just something to drop in your like DJ sets or mixtapes, whatever you guys are working on. So first of all, this song is at 100 BPM, so if I wanted to keep it at the same tempo, I would go in, change the tempo here. I would hit 100. Then if you're using a song that was created in like the last 20, probably 30 years, chances are it was made to a click track. So you're going to notice that I'm going to extend our session here. Let me do that. And then I'm going to drag it, use my eyes to try to put the hit on the downbeat. So essentially we can use the ruler. Now, that looks like kind of a reverse into the transient, so we're going to have to play with this. You can go to the other hits and see like how it matches up. Looks pretty good, I think. Cool, so then we can turn on our click track and check this. Cool. So now we have it all set to the tempo. So let's say we don't. So first of all, if I wanted to do an edit, now that I have my tempo set, my ruler makes it a lot easier to do this. So I was thinking like. I was thinking that section would be good for an intro. So since we're in the tempo and everything works, I could put it here. Let me slide it so it's right on the downbeat. I'm going to add a little fade. And then we could basically use this as like a sort of intro. And then I could write on top of it. Let's do some filtering, make it almost sound like it is getting DJ'd. Cool, I'm gonna have that filter open up a little bit there. So I'm gonna go into automation. I'm gonna go back to track. On that high EQ, I'm gonna automate a little bit of the high cut so it starts to open up right there. And it's gonna continue to open. And then finally, after 16 measures, we're going to drop it, and then I could cut it here, and we could go straight into the verse, let's say. Now, the beginning part, that fill, perhaps we want to go early to that fill, so I could do that here. All right. Oh, let's get rid of that. And then finally, I want to mess with that low cut automation, so I'm going to go in here to low cut frequency. That's where that low line is. I'm cutting off 70 hertz in the beginning. After halfway through our intro, I'm just going to open it up fully. Now we created a really easy sort of DJable intro. So you're going to hear that low end come in right here. All right, here come our vocals.
Ahí estuvo, la historia va a cambiar. Episodio climático de novela. Y tú sigue y dale, quieres regresar, pero no, no es lo mismo. No, no, no es igual. Ya es hora que te voy a olvidar. No, no. Un día, cuando mientas, ya es hora que te voy a.
So we could definitely just like play with the arrangement now. So our first step was to figure out whatever tempo the song you're going to do an edit is. you can do that with the utility from BPM. If you're not in Logic, you could Google tap tempo, and then you could try to like tap your finger on your keyboard along to the song. That'll also give you an approximate tempo. Let's say I want to change this, and I want to kind of start with my intro. So I'm going to join these. It's just thinking about it. Actually, let me undo that. I'll just bounce it in place. So that's going to create one audio file, right? That has our full track. Then I'm basically going to show you how to change the tempo. So there's a couple ways to do this. One, the way I used to do this, the old school, like not official way, is you could cut this at, let's say, the end of 69 or this end of 68, and then you could change your tempo, and you could hold Option, drag the audio file. That's going to change the actual tempo. When you hold Option, you're going to notice the little playhead cursor, or my cursor changes. That goes to stretch the audio. So I don't want to do that. I'm just going to double click on this. Now, if you don't get the same stuff to show up in your Logic Pro, you're going to want to go into advanced options and enable all of them. You can also look at my intro to Logic Pro in general, some of the first videos I put out on this channel. So I'm going to go to function time and pitch machine. Now, this might kind of freeze up my computer for a second and yours, so just beware. I'm going to change the tempo. So let's do something that might sound kind of crazy. I'm going to go from 100, and I'm going to go up to, let's say, 124. This might sound kind of crazy, but let's just say we want to do kind of like a house music edit to this. So I'm going to go to 124. I'm going to hit process and paste, and I'm going to say a little prayer that my system doesn't crash. Same thing for yours. It's thinking about it. We're going to know it works after it gets shorter. So now we made the song a lot shorter. This might sound kind of strange. That's naturally, we sped it up by a lot. It was 100, right? Now it's 124, so we sped it up by 24%, which is kind of a lot. Oh, and when you do that, we're going to want to change our tempo to 124. Now, none of that other stuff is going to work, but it'll be with our click. All right, let's hear our vocals.
Ahí estuvo la historia, va a cambiar. Episodio climático de novela. Y tú sigue y dale, quieres regresar, pero no es lo mismo. No, no es igual. Ya es hora que te voy a olvidar. No es un día, pero no es lo mismo. No es igual. Ya es hora que te voy a olvidar. No.
All right. So the next part, obviously a lot of it sounds kind of crazy. If you change the tempo of a song, it is going to sound a lot different. Shouldn't be super surprising. Now this is an example of where I think like music theory really helps out a lot. I'm going to try to figure out what notes are in this song, and that's going to be the basis for what we do. So we want to first find that low note. Cool, so I think we're using D. Now, that note, as simple as that probably seems, is in most contexts, most like popular songs, or most songs that anybody's going to walk in if you're doing this for a living and ask you to do a remix or ask you to figure out the key of the main note that's playing in the intro or that the kick drum is tuned to where it's repeating is probably going to be our root. So chances are we're in some D key. I'm gonna guess D minor. Nice, there's like this D minor arpeggio sort of going. That note's a lot quieter. So you maybe will learn, like, how am I doing this? This is something, the fancy way of talking about it's called dictation. Basically figuring out music with our ears. This is a skill that, take it from me, I thought I would never be able to do this. It's a skill that you will develop over time. Just keep working on your music. The more you're producing, the more you're listening to music, the more you're playing whatever instrument you play, or just working on your chops, the more your ears are going to develop, and this gets easier. But once you figure out some of the notes from the original, this allows me to start really like going to town writing other stuff. All right. So first of all, I could obviously like take this MIDI and have it play on something else. That's kind of like a bass line, if you will. I'm going to now show you what else we could do since we know it's in the key of D minor. I'm going to go to the second section and write a super simple 4-chord progression. So I'm in the key of D minor. I know this is probably gonna work. What if I come up with my bass line? So D minor has the same notes as F major, one black key, it's B flat. So I could write a bass line here. Super simple. That's 1, 6, 4, 5. Those will always work. I'm gonna voice my chords a little bit more interestingly. B flat, we got B flat, D, and F. A G minor. Make it a minor 7 halfway through for fun. And then we are in D minor. Harmonic minor would make this an A major. We're going to see what both sound like. So here's A minor. What if I make that an A major? Nope, minor was better. Cool. So now here are some chords. So you may already know where I'm going with this. We can really do a lot with these two channels in MIDI. So I could, for instance, just for fun, I could go into Logic's default instruments so that those of you working on Logic can follow along. I could choose like floating plasma. I'm going to turn it down. All right, so now we kind of have a little pad layer we can bring in. Let's see what our bass line would sound like with some sort of a little wobble bass. Now, if we're going to add a bass or we're going to replace the kick drum or something, we're going to want to obviously mix that into the original. So I'll talk about that in just 1 second. Let's just show you. Hold on, I want to go into here. X for records, Serum. So here is Serum. This is not a default Logic instrument. Last night I was working on a wobble for the Bob Marley edit I put on my Audius. Check out my Audius, I'll link to it. Just like how you should make an Audius regardless of if you like my music, because it's just like a modern day treasure chest. There's so much cool music on there. I did this Marley wobble. Now, I'm probably going to want to filter that. Let's mellow it out. I'm going to take this and really cut out the lows. so you can hear my bass. We can make this. And because that's an intro, I'm going to want to cut the subs out of that too. Let's put that through an amp. It's going to sound kind of crazy. Let's add another layer. Let's go on the sort of rhythm that we have in the song. So that da 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 like it's a syncopated. We're gonna do quarter notes at the beginning, and then a dotted quarter. Now, if that works, I'm going to create some sort of repetition or consistency, which you'll hear me talk a lot about in all these videos. Consistency, I mean, if we're talking about music from a long time ago or music from recent eras, or if we're talking about like sophisticated music or simple music, there's really repetition in everything that's not sort of experimental for the sake of being experimental, if that makes sense. There is free form music that kind of by definition doesn't have the repetition, but if you ever hear that, you'll know what I mean by the fact that it sounds sort of random by definition. So now I'm going to choose a different instrument. Let's just stick with the Logic default. Let's go with some sort of pluck type sound. My loop is weird. Oh, I have a note out of time. That's what happened. Let's move this up an octave. Cool. So let's basically I don't know. So we could take this all sorts of directions. I'm now at 124. That makes it so that I could do a lot of things that you hear at 124 in like the sort of house music genre. I may change the tempo further to put it out as a d.r.u remix. I actually reached out to Adrian Delgado, and so I am waiting to hear back. I don't want to do the remix if he doesn't want me to. But if I don't hear back, I'll probably do it, but obviously give him credit and only put it on Audius. So yeah, again, I'll link to his track below. Be sure you go support that if you like it. From my research, they look pretty independent. So I'm really, really happy I found their music. You heard about it here. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you found this helpful, you would help me out by subscribing to the channel or hit the bell for notifications so you find out when I make a new video. I'm going to try to keep coming out with content that helps you in your music production journey. If you do make a remix and this video helped, feel free to put that in the comments or shoot me an email. I'd love to hear how the channel is helping some of you out there to improve upon your musical skills. Keep hustling and remember to keep it fun. Till next time. Later.